I will be showing you how to change the symbology and representation for your layers. First, I'm going to zoom in on my county layer. Next, I'm going to add a bookmark to save my spot. You don't have to do this, but it comes in handy just in case when you start moving around, you can always come back to this exact spot. Now we're ready to change the symbology. Click on the style icon underneath the layer name. The first step is to choose the attribute we want to display. In this case, we want name. Second, we will pick our drawing style. Let's see how the unique symbol style looks like. So now we see all the name attributes and we are ready to assign them a unique symbol. Notice how there are only 10 counties that have a symbol. If we only want to highlight a few counties, we can drag the ones we don't want into the other category, like so. However, if we want to highlight all the counties, we just need to click Ungroup, and that will give the symbols to all the counties. To change our color palette, click on the symbols at the top right. From here, we can select from many different options. When you've picked the one you like, make sure you click OK to save your changes. We can also change the overall transparency of the layer. Look what happens when I use this slider below. Alright, let's explore the other option. Make sure you click OK to save all your changes. This is very important. If you click Cancel or Back, it won't save any of the changes that you have already made. Let's take a look at the single symbology. Using this method, we can style our data in the same fashion. I'm going to make a county boundary. I'm going to do that with a transparent fill, a bright outline, let's do red, and we can change the pattern to a dotted line. I like this one. One thing I'd like to highlight is that not only can you change the overall transparency of the layer, you can also change the transparency of the individual component of that layer, such as the fill or outline. For example, if I picked a white fill, I can change the transparency to 50% without affecting the borderline. Versus if I change the transparency here, even the border would disappear as well as the fill. Remember to click OK to save your changes. Now that we've gone through two different styles of symbology representation, let's see what happens when we pick an attribute with data associated with it. I'm going to pick the water attribute. Notice how when we changed attributes, we have a new style options. This is because the layer has numerical data that can be displayed. Let's style this map with color to see which counties have the most area of water. You will see now that we have more options for our display. The Divided By drop-down menu is optional, but here we can select other attributes to compare values as percentages and such. For now, we're going to keep it as none. The Theme drop-down menu gives us different gradient options to highlight what we want the data to display. For this map, we're going to stick with the high-to-low theme. This graphic here shows the distribution of the map values, with the maximum being at the top, the minimum at the bottom, and the average where X bar is. We can change the minimum and maximum values using the sliders on the left. We can also zoom in on the slider to magnify the values and fine-tune our range. Let's change our colors by clicking symbols. I'm going to pick a blue color ramp since that makes sense for water. Make sure that the values of the color ramp make sense, where the darker value is the highest and the lighter value is the lowest. You can also invert the color ramp if that's not the case on your screen. Click OK to save your changes. Next, let's classify our data to make it easier to understand by clicking the Classify Data checkbox. I'm going to adjust my transparency so I can see the layer better. Alright, so here we are given several different classification methods such as natural breaks, equal interval, quantile, and manual breaks. And for this map, I'm going to select quantile. You can increase the number of classes or decrease depending on what you want to, how you want your data displayed. For now, I'm going to pick 5. And you can also choose to round your classes to the nearest tenth, but I'm going to leave it just the way it is and keep its exact values. Let's click OK to save our changes. So now we have our map of California with our county boundaries and our area of water color gradient. But what does it all mean? So let's add some labels to our counties. Make sure you click Done at the bottom here to save all your changes. Now we're back at the content pane. Let's select More Options and select Create Labels. Here we can change what kind of text we want to show. In this case, we do want the name. You can also add certain different IDs located here. Let's decrease the size a little bit so it fits better. And in the darker areas, it's a little hard to see, so let's add a halo. I like that. Let's click OK to save. When we click this Legend tab, we can find all our range values that correspond to the colors. Alright, and that concludes this lesson. Let's review what we've learned in this video. First, we learned how to style a location attribute using unique symbols or the same symbol. Then, we learned how to change the overall transparency of a layer as well as the individual fill and outline component of that layer. We also learned how to style a numeric attribute using the color style. We did not go over the size style, but it basically uses the same approach as the color style. And then finally, we learned how to add labels to our map. In my next video, I will show you how to add map notes to your map to highlight certain features.